So, hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Life with Zach, the channel where I share my explorations and discoveries with you, the YouTube audience. And today, I wanted to bring you the next video in our life hack series, where we talk about basically anything from reviews to organizational tips to how-tos to basically anything that I feel like I've kind of learned in my life that you might be interested in. And this video is going to be a little different in the fact that it is also going to incorporate some of the history series that we do weekly. So if you pick up on some of that and are more interested in that, be sure to check out those series as they come out. But this video is going to talk about documenting things in your life, or as it's more popularly known, journaling. Now, I keep a journal, this nice green journal here. It's kind of blurry as the camera picks it up. But basically what I do is I try to write in that at least once a day, sometimes it's every other day, basically some things that I did in order to help document what kind of went on. So if I ever need to look back and say, this what was going on with my life, or this is what I was working on that day, or if I ever need to remember something, that is right there. And then one day, in theory, if my journal survives, that will be somewhere for posterity to look at, to learn about maybe me, but more importantly about life in our time. But what I wanted to do today was share 5 things that I've learned about journaling with you that I think will be really important for those of you who want to journal, especially if you haven't done it yet and are looking to get started, things that'll help you out. So without further delay, we'll get started. So number one, the first thing you need to do is to label your journal with somehow what it is and who you are. This is just something that's going to be important to you, is you don't want your journal to get lost. A lot of other people mess with things over the course of your life. People moving things around. You might move, you might do other things. You just don't want that to disappear. But you also don't want who you are to disappear. There's a lot of journals that exist that don't have any information about who wrote them. Okay, and if you're going to be writing this, and then one day hoping that this documents your life in the future, you maybe even just for your family or something, you want them to know who it is that's writing. So just even if you write your first and last name and journal somewhere like on the front page or something, so that people know not to mess with this, you can know what it is. So it's not just a random thing that's sitting around. And then people in the future can kind of know who's writing it. The second thing that you want to consider, you want to think about when you're journaling is pick a style of journaling that's right for you. So I've tried a lot of different things as I kind of learned about journaling and what worked for me. I tried writing out these long entries on pieces of paper. I tried writing them out in notebooks. I tried typing everything. I tried keeping everything in like these big composition notebooks where I kept like schedules and to-do lists and everything all together. And eventually I just kind of settled on these type of like small leather notebooks. This is small enough for me to carry around, but it's not like something that I'm going to keep in my pocket or something, because I even tried those. But what I do basically is just take this and basically have a list, one sentence description, sometimes two, about specific things that happened during the day or what's kind of going on. So, it's like got up at 6 o'clock, went to the gym, just kind of on like that, because I found that I really lost interest and was having to force myself if I was writing these long, like drawn out narratives and stuff like that. So I found this will work for me. But the important thing is you have to pick what works for you, because if you're forcing yourself, you're never going to enjoy doing this. And if you don't enjoy doing it, you're not going to keep doing it. And the purpose of journaling is that you do it on a regular basis, because that's benefiting you. There's all kinds of videos about the importance of journaling for you, but it's also benefiting people in the future. It's benefiting your family and things like that. So you need to pick a style that works for you that you're going to want to continue. And it may be that you do something for a while and you find out, hey, this isn't working. And then you stop for a while and you try something different or you go back to that. That's perfectly all right. But you just got to know what works for you. Um, the third thing that's really important when you're journaling is related to that, and that's scheduling a time to write. And that's a time to write that works in your schedule and works with what you're doing. Okay. So some people, they write first thing, last thing in the day before they go to bed. Some people have specific times of the day that they write. Some people write when they first get up. Some people write like 5 or 6 times a day. The thing I found that works for me is I basically write down what I did as soon as I finish with work for the day. So what I do then is I document what I did for work that day and what went on the evening before after I got off work, or if the weekend just passed, what went on during the weekend, because I usually don't write for the weekend. And the reason that kind of works for me is that I've discovered it's that most things, that happen at work are fresh in my mind. And I'm also kind of in that work mode where I write a lot of stuff and do a lot of things. If I go home, I kind of get in that home mode where I don't want to write stuff. I don't want to do things that may look like work or feel like work. And I get distracted by other things like chores around the house and eating and watching TV and all that other stuff. So while my mind is still focused and I'm still got that motivation, I write about it. But really, again, it really doesn't matter when you do it. It's that you schedule time and you remain consistent, because I think they say it takes about 6 weeks for something to really be a habit. So you're going to have to motivate yourself, kind of push yourself to have a time to write and kind of set that up as a habit over the course of those 6 weeks, so that eventually it just becomes part of your routine. But if you don't schedule that time to do it and schedule time that works for you to do it, you're never going to finish it. You're never going to carry through with it more than maybe once or twice, because it's not fitting with who you are and what's going on. And you're not really setting aside the time to do it. So you need to schedule a time to write on a regular basis. And again, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't even have to be once every other day. It could be once a week. But you need to basically set aside that time so you get in that habit of writing. The fourth thing you need to do in terms of journaling, documenting what's going on, is write about what you care about. Now, this journal is primarily for you. Okay, so its purpose is for you. Now, I'm an archivist, so I like the documentation portion, the part that many journals survive and tell us about people's lives, 100, 200, 300 years ago. And, that's something that maybe you care about, maybe you don't. Some people want their journals destroyed and never want them to survive. But it really is about you. It's about what you want to use it for. Okay. So, the benefits of journaling involve things like stress release and all that, but that's not going to happen if you're not writing about what you care about. Some people go into journaling with a desire to write what they think other people are going to want to hear. They think that someone 100 years from now may want to know about. And to be honest, we can't predict that. Okay. We can't identify what those people are going to want to learn about. And plus, you're the one keeping the journal, not them. So you want to write about what you care about, because that's going to motivate you even more. It's going to help you keep that routine. It's going to help you keep that style to put the time in to do your journaling. So write about what you care about. It doesn't matter if it's only about what you cook for the day. Write about that if that's what you care about. If you care about the weather, some journals are just weather observations every day. And people find that really cool and fascinating. But you want to write about what you care about, what went on in your life, what you want to share, what is really beneficial to you to write down. And don't worry about other people. They'll be able to take care of themselves if and when anybody ever looks at your journal. But again, write about what you care about, because this is your journal. Take possession of what you're doing, take possession of your journal, and write about what you care about. And the final thing, number 5, is to be able to identify the people and places and things that you're talking about so that you and other people can remember them a year from now, 10 years from now, or 50 years from now. Um, I find this a lot looking at historic journals, but I also find this sometimes looking back at my journals where it's like, what was I even talking about? Like, what is this place or who is this person? Or like, what was going on? Like, this makes no sense to me. If I'm trying to go back and look up something um, or remember something or, kind of recapture something. And if you don't remember who that person is, um, it's not going to be any help to you. So if you write down um, the name of a person, don't just write down their initials or don't just write down a first initial and a last name, because 20 years from now, you may not remember that. Or don't just write down, you know, my roommate, and maybe you've forgotten their name 20 years from now. You need to, in some way, identify who that person is. And if you're talking about places, the same thing. You need to identify the place you're at. If you say you went to the mountain and then 30 years from now, you're like, I don't remember which mountain that is. And you're trying to maybe go back and like relive that experience or do something else or tell, your grandkids that I went to, Little North Mountain when I was 23 and did a hike, and it was so amazing. And if you can't remember that Little North Mountain, that story is not going to be as impressive, and you're going to really regret not writing it down. So you want to write down all the information about that. So again, first and last names for people, and like the whole name for places, even things like writing out a state name or not abbreviating something so that you can know what you're talking about later. And if you want somebody to read this, if future, historians, you want them to learn about your life, they're really going to thank you, because if you don't do that, they're not going to have any idea the people and places that you're talking about. So for you and for them, if you care about that, identify the people and places that you're talking about, because if not, you're going to regret it later when you try to go back and make some sense out of it. It's not going to make any sense. So in every line, if you're talking about, I don't know, John doing something with John Smith, and not every line needs to have his name, but if in each entry, be sure to write down that name so that then you're writing, we went to this place, we went to that place, or JS and I went to this place. Now we know who that is, okay? But if not, if you put it somewhere in a random page or don't write it down at all in your journal, then no one's going to know who we're talking about. So again, the 5 tips of journaling, or as I care about in terms of archives, documenting your life, is label your journal with your info and what it is and what you want to do with it. Number 2, pick a style that works for you in terms of a style of writing, how you do it, the format that it is. 3, schedule time to write so that you get into that habit and that you are consistent with your writing. 4, write about what you care about. This is your journal. You need to take possession of it and what's in there. And it's really there to benefit you and for you to get benefit out of it and some kind of meaning out of it. So write about what you care about. And then number 5, identify the people and places that you're talking about so that in the future, if you ever need to come back to this, or you need to somehow make sense of it, or your family or somebody's trying to make sense of it one day, they'll be able to, because you've identified all the people and places in there. So I hope you found some value in this video talking about journaling. There'll probably be some other tips in terms of what you can do to better journal and document your life coming up in the future. Of course, there'll be a lot of other life hack and home hack videos coming out. There'll be a lot of other local history videos coming out as part of that series, and there'll be a lot of other exploration and travel videos coming out as part of that series, all part of this Life with Zach channel. So if you find value in that, you want to check those out, be sure to hit the subscribe button down at the bottom. I love to get new subscribers. If you like this video, hit like, comment with any other journaling tips you want to share, or any other information or any questions that you have for me, and I'll definitely get back with you. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day.